Ethan joining the show now. He's the mayor of the great city of Danbury.
I know.
Our buddy Dean Esposito. Hey, Dean.
Hey, Dean.
Good morning, guys.
So I don't want to bury the lead because it's the most important thing that's gone on recently, and there's a lot of talk about the Career Academy in Danbury. Ethan wrote an article about it. Let's start kind of backwards and talk about you walked out of a meeting or backed out of a summit at the summit. Is this correct?
Right. Walked out is a pretty dramatic term for that whole negotiation, but you're basically right, Lou. We were at the table. We were in negotiations with our, we have a few local attorneys that advise us on this property matters, and the negotiations were going very, very well initially about 2 weeks ago. We had a really good deal on the table, and the next morning it changed totally with requests from the seller. And we went back again. We got a whole nother deal on the table, and it fell apart again with requests from the seller.
Yeah, it's interesting because.
Sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. At that point, one of the requests that they were actually demanding at the end for sale, for them to sell us the property, I could not accept as the representative of the people of Danbury, and I had a withdrawal from negotiations.
And good on you, because this is just one idiot's opinion, but this is how I look at this. The fact that the city of Danbury wanted to work with the folks over at the summit, you're sort of like, at this point, an angel investor. It's been kind of a doomed area that they just can't, for whatever reason, get it together and find the right tenant and the right situation. So you come in, and the city of Danbury wants to work with this massive facility and get something going positive for the community. And now they're adding last-minute stipulations. Am I correct in saying that?
That sounds correct, Lou. And I just want to clarify that, they've been open. They've waited a while for us because this whole COVID situation, and we have to deal directly with the state and get permission from them on different things. But it wasn't the entire group that was really from my opinion, in the negative on their items. But in the end, it was not a doable deal for the city. And I had, it's a huge decision, you guys, to all the time and effort that's been put out there. And I had to make the decision because we were going to the council, as you may have saw, with some requests for moving the project forward. So I made the decision before we actually had to do that with the council.
But don't you have many other options as to where this could be built, the Career Academy?
Well, Ethan, I wouldn't say many other options. The size of the land. What we have found is that, of course, with COVID, a lot of these bigger buildings are being emptied out, and their staffs are working from home, and they're actually going to go on the market. And I have to tell you, prayers are answered sometimes, because I got a call yesterday about a possible location for an alternative. Basically an alternative location, but we have to really research that. But now we had a backup plan. Plan B was in my hand when I withdrew that, so I wasn't going to leave the city without anything. But in the end, I think we would all agree that we had to withdraw at that point. And I said last night we met with that group, or representatives of the Summit Group, or it's called the SC Ridge LLC. They're the sellers, and they're putting together the best and final offer, so they'll be on the table with the other two.
Okay, so you withdrew the deal. You withdrew from the deal, and now, so it's not completely dead. They're going to come back to you and try and get you back on the same page again. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds right, Lou.
All right.
I mean, out of respect to the local representatives of that team, I asked them to put the best and final offer up without the stipulation that actually caused me to withdraw. So it was just one of the items that was totally unacceptable for us to address.
Danbury Mayor Dean Esposito joining the show now. And another headline this week as it relates to the Career Academy is that the budget for the project has swelled by, I think, like 46%, I read. Is that correct? And what is the reason behind that?
The budget has increased, obviously, after reading that article, but a lot of those increases were based over time, because the original budget and the $99 million was faced in 2019 when the project was starting to take off. And ever since then, with, product increases and, it's just all the way across the board, the increases that are out there. COVID, pushed up the pricing on the supply chain. I don't know. I think you guys talked about it before. To get a piece of plywood would cost you 5 times more than it did a couple of years ago. So a lot of those things caused the price to go up. But most of all was the ed specs, the requests from the education side on the certain things that they have to provide educating the kids in those buildings. So they were increased a bit, which increased the price.
Has there been any talk of like kind of deferring some of this payment, stretching it out over time so it doesn't hit the city so hard?
Yeah, we were lucky to have the state involved, and our state delegation, all of them from the Danbury delegation, has worked hard with the lead from David Arconti, State Representative David Arconti. They got a special bill through, and we're looking at an 80% reimbursement from the state. So when you look at the big number there, it's very scary. But in the end, the responsibility of Danbury's is much less in the big picture.
David Arconti owes me a football helmet from Danbury High School. Him and I have been going back and forth
you
about
tell
this.
him, Lou. You tell
He's
him.
got to get me a football helmet because apparently he's a big to-do over at the high school. They gave him his own helmet, and I've been going crazy over this for I don't know how long.
I had to get my own helmet when I played there because my head was a little bit larger than most people.
Mine too. All right, so just quick kudos here on you put out a video either late last week or early this week about the COVID-19 measures that the city has taken to keep everybody safe. It was very nice, very slick, and I think who does your video production, by the way? You got to give them a shout out. They're doing an amazing job.
They're local, man. They're great. Our media, they're a young couple that right down on Main Street.
Oh, we know Renato. Yeah,
we know those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. They've done every one of my videos, and I think you've seen most of them. And I'm very proud to put those out there because they do a great job.
Yeah, they're top. They're top notch.
Our whole thing there. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to mention with the academy. The reality of the academy is it's 2 schools in one, a middle school and a high school.
Right.
So when you evaluate, not you, but the public evaluates what we're looking at, it's actually 2 schools for that price. And, with my negotiations, we're looking to get a better price as well.
Absolutely. Dean Esposito, we thank you for your time.
Thanks,
as
Dino.
always. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Talk to you next week.